what it takes, and also just a lot of people ask me, like, you know, what does it take to get your book noticed versus what is it, you know, what do you put in your book now with all the mediums, and you need to have everything, and you need to know how to do online and this. So I wanted to kind of answer a bunch of those questions. And it's
always been the thing that people, if anytime I speak, there will be a question about.
I think every show has had a question.
Well, and any time, like if I'm, you know, for the last 20 years, the question will always come up. You know, what should my portfolio be like? How many pieces should be in it? You know, what kind of case should it be in? Should it be in a $200 case or should it be in a $20 case? Should it be in a box? Should it be, you know, should it be a link? And unfortunately, there aren't any real answers to those questions, I think. But we can spend a bunch of time and talk about what does work, what doesn't work, and why, what has worked and what isn't working anymore, and that's what we're going to try to do on the show.
I thought it might be fun to just start out and show a couple of books from here.
Yeah. I looked for my book and I couldn't find it.
But we found probably the next.
But this one is almost as bad as my original book.
This is from our ECD of digital, and it's a very high-tech black fake leather case, which many of you have probably seen before.
This is Jeff Benjamin's.
Yeah, so maybe I'll find a couple of good ones. He actually has some web banners in here, so I thought
I would almost fire him just after seeing this
I know.
book,
It's actually pretty scary.
I know you've won all these gold lions since you've been here, but I went back and I looked at your original book and you're fired. No,
maybe
my original book was terrible.
Maybe I'll just kind of do a little zoom in and show a couple of pieces, and then we'll read a few lines because there are some gems in here.
Yeah.
We've got a postcard of some sort. I don't. It's for
fairly well designed.
It's an international festival of puppet theater.
Yeah.
That's a big kind of clients he's working on these days. I think we have a Kinko printout of a baseball. It says baseball will never be the same again. It's pretty compelling,
but
right?
You know, the thing is, like you work with what you've got, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, Jeff was obviously working a little bit, and he didn't have the greatest opportunities. He was doing the best he could, and that's what this is the one where. So this is Jeff. There's a lot of glare, so So this is Jeff's first web banner concept. It's just sort of a marker comp. But if you can read it here, it says, balls, got the balls to make the calls.
It's for a Hoops Madness contest.
Zuzu Hoops Madness contest. Anyway, very little indication that this guy would go on to greatness, I think. So
I think it's a good example.
It's a good example of a couple things. One, it's a really good example of your book is probably always evolving. Right?
Yeah.
And you shouldn't necessarily look at it as something that gets finished. But you know what Tiffany did, where she said, I'm going to buy a ticket and I'm going to fly to where the agency is, and I'm going to do this 3 months in advance, and then I'm going to figure out in the meantime how to make a book.
You have to have a deadline.
You create your own deadlines. And I think that's really important. So there's deadlines in school that occur, but then after that, you got to make your own deadlines. There isn't going to be a portfolio review. There isn't going to be some moment, and there isn't going to be some teacher asking to see your work and grade you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of people maybe fall down in the process, and they just don't continue to, even after you're out of school, find a partner, right? Work together. Create more and new work, and just don't ever stop at that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because it's the same when you're working at an agency. It's like you always, you know, you have a deadline, and you will work and work until that deadline comes. So if you don't set those deadlines, then it will never end, you know, because you always want to make your work better. But I think you have to just not be so stressed out that that's the end of it, you know, that there's another deadline where you can then make it better and put a new piece in it, and not get so attached to ideas, just like we, you know, do here. It's like you can't think everything is this thing that can't go away, that you can always make it better.
Yeah. Do you want to show Rob Riley's book?
Oh, yeah, this one is a...
Rob Riley, do you want to show it?
Yeah, we'll show Rob Riley's. It's a triple threat.
Rob Riley refers to himself as triple threat because he played in a guitar, or he sang in a band, he played soccer.
He was a bartender, he sang in a band,
so
and he was a soccer star.
He saw himself as, in terms of dating and women, triple threat.
So he actually included some chicken fries, And his
portfolio.
This is his recent portfolio, actually, because he invented the chicken fries.
Right.
So he wanted to. He's not here, and
nice.
I think we took his poster down. So I wanted to make sure, you know, he represented. This was a mixtape of his band songs. Pretty cool. And then he gave one other. This was, I think, his most compelling piece. So, you know, you can take a lot of different approaches. I think what was nice, you know, about his is that you have food in there. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing to show.
It's nice.
Definitely surprising. Scents, you can add scents to a book, which makes a much more exciting portfolio.
If you can eat the portfolio, that's good.
And then I was going to show a little bit of mine and maybe a little bit of Yoko's.
Yours is real.
Mine
that
is
wasn't
real.
Rob's real portfolio.
Yeah, that was not real.
Yeah. Yours is real.
Mine is real. Some of my stuff's missing, but this is literally, I actually have only showed this portfolio once, and that was here. I never actually interviewed anywhere else.
That was one of the questions, actually, is when's the last time you showed your portfolio?
Then I saw that. So this was here 7 years ago, and this has been sitting in my office, and I think actually it's had some pieces stolen out of it, so they might be actually being shopped around.
Other portfolios.
And this was during the time where it was really important to make your own case. You had to get really creative. Like, it was all about how cool could the case be that you put it in.
Yeah. And that was one of the questions that's come up is like, you know, what is the importance of the case? You can't really say what the importance of the case is. Is there any part, if you think it's important, right? Yeah. And is there any part of your presentation that you don't want to get creative with, and then you just have to decide yes, and there's a reason why, I guess? And
if the work is so amazing in it and it's a really crappy case, that's kind of cool too, so you never know.
It could be. I mean, it could be part of it, but I think every aspect is you trying to illustrate your creativity. You're not trying to show a good case, you're just trying to illustrate your creativity. Like Dave Schiff's portfolio, he bought just kind of a regular standard portfolio, or maybe it was a suitcase, and then he went to a shop and bought a header off of a car, and actually had the automotive shop bolt the header onto the sides of the portfolio. And the portfolio weighed literally like 110 pounds.
Which is actually kind of a point where it's make it you too. You know, like I like little matching things and cute outfits.
It was him.
And he could carry it. His muscles could carry it.
And he was strong enough to carry it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then, you know, a lot of people also ask kind of like what...
But it was hard to miss. It's like, hey, what's that box with the header the chrome header on the side?
Yeah.
You know?
And then, you know, I know when I was putting my book together, I would literally get people to say, don't put it, you're an art director, don't put writing in there, you know, or don't put this type of thing, or don't show your design, you know, they want to see that you're an art director. And for me, it's like I didn't want to work at a place where I only had to do one thing, so it was important for me to try to show what I could do, what I like to do, and that I had a lot of different interests. So I had, you know, short stories that I'd written. I think one of these is called Please Don't Have Sex with My Grandma, which, you know, gave a little bit about my personal life. Like, it was about me thinking my grandma was a call grandma because she lives in Pahrump, Nevada. So, it was, you know, you got a little insight into my life.
I mean, your book definitely did the thing. Like, I can't remember a specific piece from Tiffany's book, but what Tiffany's book did, which is my favorite thing, is it had great work in there, but I really got a sense of the person. So before, you know, I met her, and also while we were interviewing, more importantly, you're taking me through the book, and you can't help but talk about the things you're passionate about, and what you want to do, and why you did this, and what you were thinking when you did that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you want to have happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's when it's just a parade of ads, whether they're fake ads or real ads or spec ads.
Yeah.
It can be enough, no doubt, but when it starts to illustrate the person, those are the great books. I think.
And you know, for me too.
Your book was really good, so it's a kind of a terrible example.
Yeah, well, I got a job, so.
You did, but these were funny.
Yeah, these used to be they were little baby things, and I happened to have Jeff Hicks, who is the president of Crispin, and he had just had triplets, and so I had 3 of these little onesies that said deduction on it, and he happened to walk in the room, so I gave them to him. So now I have the president of Crispin kids wearing my ad, so I thought that was a pretty good thing.
Yeah,
so, and you know, and I get bored easily. Maybe it's my personality, maybe I have ADD, I'm not sure, but I like a lot of stuff. I like it to be a little bit of a show and tell.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you flip through so many pages after pages, and when there's just something that stops you and has something a little bit different in it, it really helps to capture my attention.
And in some ways,